the United States Constitution. This prohibited the manufacturing, sale, transport, import, or export of any type of alcoholic beverage. Upon ratification of the amendment by the states, Congress voted its approval October 1919 and enacted it to law as the National Prohibition Act of 1920.
Women largely brought about the Prohibition movement, which is mainly known as the temperance movement. National Women's Temperance Movement came up with the slogan, "Lips that touch liquor should not touch ours" campaign. Those for the Prohibition Act were known as dries, while those against it were known as wets. Dries were against alcohol, saloons, and other alcohol drinking places, believing these places were corrupt. The dries believed this liquor ban would then bring down crime, improve family, and strengthen the nation again. This was then known as the Noble Experiment. In many ways, this turned out to be extremely bad for our economy, by taking away many jobs in places such as breweries and saloons. This law was extremely hard to enforce, and those who wanted to keep drinking found other more creative ways to do so.
The liquor industry wants to do to them, they want to feed them that old rot gut. Honky-tonks by slick-haired busters who prey on the flower of American womanhood. I say, alcohol.
People responsible for bootlegging, such as gangsters, the Mormons, and after so much crime and corruption this war had created altogether, it became too much for many, and change was demanded for its end. The 21st Amendment was put forward to ratify the 18th Amendment. Franklin Roosevelt was elected as president in 1943. His pledge to strip away from alcohol after many became irritated by it.
Organized crime supplied alcohol in the 20s for people since it was banned by the 18th Amendment. The government set up the Federal Prohibition Bureau to block prohibition, but this didn't stop the selling of booze. People would often bribe government officials. To transport or hide alcohol, they would do this in hollowed-out canes, false books, and hip flasks. Women were also helpful in this process. The quality of alcohol was poor, and many people became sick because of it. Al Capone, a famous gangster, was very successful. He had police officers, judges, and other officials on his payroll, so he could keep being a gangster. He ran and dominated organized crime in Chicago. One of his most famous crimes was bootlegging. Some gangsters also had the ability to corrupt politicians, so being a gangster became big business. The money made by gangsters encouraged others to take part in organized crime. People would become smugglers and bring alcohol from Canada and the Caribbean as well. Because jobs were scarce and people needed to provide for their families, being in a gang was an easy way to make money and provide, though it was dangerous. Other outlaws included Bonnie and Clyde, a famous duo for robberies. Though they committed crimes in the 1920s, they became popular in the 30s. During the 1920s, crime got much worse. The police funding increased by 11.4 million because of it. The arrests for drunkenness and disorderly conduct increased by 41%. Thieves and burglaries also increased by 9%. And the arrests of drunken drivers increased by 81%.
The 18th Amendment took effect in January 1920, ushering into the Prohibition era. During this era, alcohol was officially illegal. Bootleggers and distributors of illicit alcohol enjoyed a thriving business serving the public still eager to drink. Speakeasies were hidden places within establishments, usually businesses underground. They were found all over the country, but there was about 32,000 in New York City. Established because of Volstead Act. In speakeasies, you transported liquor in hip flasks, false books, coconut shells, hot water bottles, and garden hoses. People stored the illegal liquor in carriages with babies perched on top of a carpenter's apron. During this era, there was many different slang terms for alcohol, which included coffin varnish, white mule, horse liniment, monkey rum, panther sweat, rot gut, and tarantula juice. Some speakeasies were similar to today's clubs, as there was singing and jazz performances. To enter a speakeasy, one would need to say a password to the door person so that the door person would know whether or not they were really secret agents. It has been said that for every legal saloon before Prohibition, at least half a dozen speakeasies were put up after Prohibition. The people involved with speakeasies mainly revolved around gangs who supplied the liquor, in particular Al Capone and his gang.